because people don't need to be on thyroid hormones and blood pressure lowering medications, or even if you think about like anxiety, like antidepressants, like maybe people don't need to be on these medications if they fix the underlying. Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Natalia, otherwise known as Nattybeefit. So today I'm bringing you guys a super exciting video and something I am so passionate about. So today we're going to be talking all about hormone health. So if you watched my last video about my weight loss and my health journey, or if you follow me on my Instagram page at Nattybeefit, you will know that I talk a ton about hormone health, and I talk about my weight loss journey and how I finally was able to like crack my code with my weight loss and my mood and all these things. And I attributed it all to hormones. But I never really explained exactly what I meant by hormones, because hormones can mean a whole bunch of different things. So I thought that I would start this hormone series. In this series, I'm going to do 3 different things, like that secret hormone that leads to inability to lose weight, low sex drive, low mood, anxiety, depression, all these things. I'm also going to be talking about what you guys all want to learn is how to treat it. And I'm going to be talking about my personal journey again, and talk about the specific supplements that I took to treat my hormone deficiencies, teaching you guys what you can do to take control of your health today. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. It really supports my channel. Also follow me on Instagram at Nattybeefit. Quick little disclaimer for you guys. So I just finished my 3rd year of my Doctor of Pharmacy program, and I have a ton of education background, but on top of that I also have a lot of my own research in this area, and just with like my own struggles, my own hormone journey. So I just kind of wanted to bring this issue to light. I think it is a huge issue that so many people are dealing with, and like I've had my Instagram for over a year now, which I love doing, and I post workouts and like tips and tricks and healthy fit and all these things, which I honestly love doing that, but I just feel like it's time to just kind of like broaden the spectrum. And I just feel like I have so much education and so much knowledge to share that I just kind of like keep to myself. So I just thought, you know what, like I don't want to be just another fitness influencer. I want to bring my knowledge to light. So there's nothing wrong with just being a fitness influencer, and not throwing any like shade to anyone out there. If that's what you want to do, that's completely fine, but I just feel like I have all this knowledge, and I just really want to be different and change the game and not just post another workout for you guys. So that's why I'm bringing this video out today. So again, I really hope you enjoy this video. So let's get into it. So as I told you guys, today I'm going to be talking about the science of stress and that like secret hormone that may be attributing to inability to lose weight, low mood, low sex drive, tension, so high blood pressure, disease, all of these things. So I just kind of want you guys to think about a time where maybe you've used this term, or maybe you've heard somebody else use this term. But imagine you just had like a very stressful situation going on, so either like a really hard time at work, or you just wrote an exam and you were like, man, I got through that because I was running on adrenaline. A lot of the time people use this phrase, but they don't actually know what it means. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys what exactly it means to be running on adrenaline, and how this can have very negative impacts on your health. So the secret hormone that may be contributing to inability to lose weight, brain fog, confusion, low mood, low sex drive, anxiety, depression is cortisol, the stress hormone, and it is produced by the adrenal glands, and it is produced as a normal response to stress. So cortisol is normal. Everybody has certain levels of cortisol produced on a daily basis. However, the problem arises when we have either too much cortisol or too little cortisol. And this honestly goes with anything, that there can be problems when you have too much or too little of anything. So as I said, cortisol is involved in the stress response, and the stress response is a completely normal response that your body has when your body feels like it is threatened. So the stress response has 3 different phases. So phase number 1 is going to be the alarm phase. Phase number 2 is going to be the resistance phase, and then phase number 3 is going to be our like overload exhaustion phase. So I'm going to go over all these phases for you guys, and then again I'm going to talk about the normal response and then the abnormal response. The stress response is what our body like turns on when we feel like we're faced with a threat. So it is actually crucial for our body to have this stress response, as the stress response is involved in survival. The response gets your body to survive whatever kind of threat is thrown at it. And your body is a very, very smart thing, but your body does not know how to perceive the difference between threats. So what I mean by this is that your body doesn't know the difference between like a man chasing you and being stressed because you have an exam or you have a deadline at work. Your body just knows like, okay, like I sense something threatful, I'm stressed, and then it responds. So that's all your body knows how to do. However, as humans, we are faced with so many different stressors on a daily basis, and stressors can be anything from you're driving to work, you're stuck in traffic and you're stressed out, or you have deadlines at work, you're fighting with your partner, you have rent to pay, bills to pay, or you're stressed. There's just so many different stressors on a daily basis, and this becomes problematic when you are faced with all these stressors every day, and then you put your body into a chronic level of high stress. Phase that I'm going to talk to you guys about is the alarm phase, and this is kind of like our immediate reaction phase. So where this phase starts is in the brain. So right now I want you to imagine that you are walking through a back alley and then a man starts chasing you. So a man starts chasing you, so you can likely hear this man, so input from your ears, but you're also getting sensory input from your eyes because you can likely see this man as well, okay? So this sensory information gets sent to the amygdala, which is part of the brain. What the amygdala does is the amygdala does like emotional processing, sensory information, and decides, okay, like, is this a stressful situation, yes or no? Then what the amygdala does is it sends this information off to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is another part of the brain, and the hypothalamus is sort of like the control center of your brain. So if you're imagining like a four-way intersection and there's like a traffic guard like kind of like taking in like cars and like moving them around, that's what the hypothalamus does. So the hypothalamus then takes this information. So the amygdala is like, okay, yes, this is a threat. Sends it to hypothalamus. Hypothalamus then takes this and is like, okay, yes, this is a threat. I'm going to now send this off to the nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is all of your non-voluntary functions of your body. So, for example, like as I'm filming this video, I am breathing, I have a heart rate, I have blood pressure, like I have all of these things going on in my body without me even thinking about it. So that is your involuntary functions. So that's the autonomic nervous system. Nervous system is then broken down into two separate varieties of the sympathetic nervous system, and that is like your fight or flight, like you are like ready to fight, that is like getting you like heightened, ready for action. And then you have your parasympathetic nervous system, and that is like that rest and digest, that cool, chill, like relaxing. I was saying, so when you're faced with a threat, it sends a signal off to the autonomic nervous system, and the autonomic nervous system takes this information and then decides what to do with it. So in this case, you're faced with a threat, right? So then we're going to be thinking about the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is responsible for like triggering that on switch. So again, I want you to think about this as a light switch. So you're faced with a threat, then we have that on switch in our light bulb, the light bulb, it goes on, okay? And what this does is it gives your body a huge burst of energy and gets you prepared to fight. So like the science behind this, so you have this threat, goes to the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus sends it to the nervous system. So now what the nervous system does is it triggers the adrenal glands to release something called epinephrine, or epinephrine is also known as adrenaline. So as I was saying before, when somebody says that they are like running off adrenaline, this is what I mean by running off adrenaline. So adrenaline is a hormone and it's released into the bloodstream, and adrenaline is responsible for giving us that big burst of energy. So adrenaline is going to get like everything going. So we're going to have a heart rate going up, our blood pressure is going to go up, we're going to have increased lung capacity, it's going to heighten all of our senses, so it's going to actually like increase the oxygen capacity, it's going to send more oxygen to the brain so that your senses are like more alert, you're more awake, you're more aware, and then it's also going to provide you with that huge burst of energy. What happens in this case is we get a huge spike of blood glucose, or otherwise known as blood sugar, and that is to provide us with energy. And acute stressor, what happens is our body wants to hold on to all the energy sources that it can. So energy sources of our body can be like carbs, protein, and fats. So imagine that you're faced with a stressor. Your body is holding on to all of these calories, aka all of this energy that it can, because it wants to preserve as much energy as possible so that we are able to fight. What can happen is if your body's not getting enough energy from these sources, it looks for further sources of energy. So where does it go? It goes to your muscle. So you need all this energy, your body goes to your muscle and it actually breaks down your muscle, so your hard-earned muscle, to get even further energy supply. The example I give you guys is like you're in a back alley and you see a man chasing you, but I also want you to think about the stress response and something that you might be more familiar with. So I want you to think about the stress response in terms of going to the gym, stress response in terms of going to the gym. So you're going to the gym and you are putting your body through a physical stress. And now I know that you're probably thinking like, okay, I don't get it, I go to the gym to relieve stress. And while yes, this is true, like mentally the gym can relieve a lot of stress, you are still, however, putting your body through physical stress when you go to the gym. So you're going to the gym, you're lifting heavy, your body kind of goes through the same response. So your sympathetic nervous system kicks in. It's like, okay, like Natalia's lifting weights today. Let's preserve all her energy stores that we can so that she's able to have a good lift, that she's able to perform good in the gym. I mean, this is good for us in the gym. This is what we want, right? Like, you don't want to be sluggish and tired and resting and digesting in the gym. You want to be like on it, and you want all your energy stores to come. You want that spike of you want that big like spike of glucose, and you want to be like ready for this workout, which is completely fine. That's normal. That's a stress response. But I want you to think about somebody who overtrains. So what happens when somebody overtrains is that they lead to injury. And this is because your body's immune system actually is like not functioning properly and your body's not able to prepare properly. And then they also lead to fatigue and burnout. So this is like the exact same thing as I'm going to talk about with the stress response. So now I'm going to talk to you guys about the second phase of the stress response. As I said, it's called the resistance phase. So in this phase, I'm going to introduce you to something called the HPA axis. So the HPA stands for hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and adrenal glands. I think with the second phase, the resistance phase, as like that light switch staying on. So sympathetic nervous system, light switch goes on, doesn't turn off because we're still perceiving threat. And then now this second phase resistance is like, okay, let's keep this light switch going. What happens is that stressful response triggers H, which is the corticotropin releasing hormone. Then this corticotropin releasing hormone then stimulates the pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland then releases something called the ACTH, which is the adrenocorticotropin hormone. And the ACTH then stimulates your adrenal glands to release cortisol. So cortisol, which is what we've been talking about this entire video. So the adrenal glands then release cortisol. That this phase is to keep our on switch on. So what cortisol does is cortisol comes in and it keeps us going. It keeps us alert, it keeps us awake, it keeps us aware, it keeps us ready to fight. Cortisol's job basically in the body is like to modulate your energy stores. So cortisol comes in and decides kind of like where to put energy in your body, or like how your body uses your energy essentially. So cortisol is a glucocorticoid. So the way you guys can remember this is gluco for glucose, aka sugar, corticoid because it is released by the adrenal cortex. Now you already have that like increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, blah 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 blah. And when cortisol is released, everything just gets even more height, and we have an even further release of blood sugar. So now I want you to think about when you're constantly stressed, or you have like all these stressors leading up every single day. This means that you're going to have like a constant release of blood sugar, a constant release of energy from your body, or you might even have that constant like breakdown of muscle. So now I'm going to talk about insulin. So you may have heard about insulin before. Insulin is a hormone that is released by the pancreas, and insulin is involved in like diabetes and blood sugar control. So you think about the situation. So now we have cortisol release, which we're going to have more blood sugar release, but whenever we have blood sugar, that's when we get insulin. So we have this high level of blood sugar, then the pancreas is going to release insulin. And insulin's job is basically to control your blood sugar levels. And insulin makes sure that your blood sugar doesn't go too high or too low. So in this case, we have all this blood sugar being released. Insulin's job is to come in and to take away this extra blood sugar. And insulin typically works in like a 1-to-1 ratio. Like it's like you eat a high carbohydrate meal, you go blood sugar, insulin comes in, takes it away, and boom, we're good, right? However, that's not happening in this case because we're having like such a huge level of blood sugar release. Insulin basically comes in and the demand is just too high. Insulin is not able to do its job. So this can lead to two things. It can lead to insulin resistance. So this is the case where you have all this blood sugar, insulin keeps getting released, and then you still have levels, so your pancreas keeps getting stimulated to just keep releasing more and more insulin. However, insulin isn't actually doing its job. So insulin resistance, or it can actually lead to further damage and it can cause type 2 diabetes. So basically at this state, like insulin is working at double speed and it can't keep up with the demand. So as I was already saying to you guys, like the parasympathetic system usually comes in and it turns this off and everything is good. However, when we're faced with these chronic stressors, that doesn't happen. So I want you to think about your light switch is staying constantly on. So for example, in your bedroom, let's say that you leave your light switch on in your bedroom all the time. What's going to happen? Well, a few things. It's going to eventually burn out, and two, you're going to have a really high power bill. So obviously you're not going to like a power bill in this case. With the power bill, I'm talking about like all the energy stores in your body. So your body has like a high power bill, aka like a high energy demand, and it's just like not able to pay. So meaning there's not enough energy to basically fulfill all these other things going on in your body. So now we're going to be talking about the third phase. So that third phase is like that overload exhaustion phase. And the burnout and overload phase, this is when we get our health problems. So that's when you have like anxiety, depression, low sex drive, low mood, like inability to concentrate, inability to lose weight, hypertension, disease. All of these things happen due to that chronic stressor, and then you were in that overload exhaustion phase. So your body is just like not able to function properly. Basically, this happens because cortisol is taking control of all of the energy in your body, and all of the energy in your body is used to like fight off the stressor that you cannot put energy into anything else. So digestion, for example, your body doesn't have enough energy to properly digest your food. So not only are you not digesting your food, but you're also not absorbing nutrients. It essentially just doesn't have enough energy to use anywhere else except for like being this fight or flight, like staying this on stage, right? So I want to talk to you guys about body composition. So somebody who is chronically stressed and has like a constant release of cortisol, in terms of body composition, there's a few things that can happen. So one, somebody who has a high level of cortisol release is actually going to have an increased appetite because cortisol increases appetite. So now you're chronically stressed, which means you're going to be constantly hungry. And it plays into, you know how people like stress eat? It's because when they're stressed, they have an increased appetite because cortisol, basically, like the job of cortisol is to like replenish your energy stores after this fight. So your body is like, oh my God, I need to eat. Like I just had this huge stressful moment. Increased caloric intake, but then those calories aren't really like going where they need to be because they're not really being digested, and you're also like not absorbing the nutrients. So on top of that, like cortisol loves to store energy in like the abdominal regions, like your midsection, and this is because that area of your body is really accessible when it needs energy. So your body, basically, you eat something, your body's like, oh my God, yay, finally we have energy, let's store it to the midsection, because when we are under stress, we can easily grab onto that because it's so convenient for us. So now you're getting like a fat buildup around your midsection, around your stomach. This leads to many problems. One, aesthetically, you're going to have that like pot belly, but two, you're also now going to have an extra layer of fat around your organs. This is called your visceral fat, and this is just a huge problem for your organs as well, because your organs cannot function properly if they have this layer of fat around them, because they are not designed to have a layer of fat around them. The other thing that I was saying before about energy and breaking down muscle, so where your body typically likes to take muscle from is from your leg and your glute region. So now you just kind of want to like think about this body, is that you have this like lower, you have this like a lower stomach fat essentially, and then you're breaking down muscle from your legs. So going back to that digestive system, so as I was saying, you're not properly digesting your food properly, so this can lead to a ton of gastrointestinal problems. So you can lead to bloating and diarrhea and cramping and constipation, like all these things, because your body just like can't properly function, and so it just leads to like all of these stomach issues. Again, with the immune system, your body doesn't have enough energy to fight off disease, because all your body wants to do is like fight this threat, right? So your body doesn't really care if you're getting exposed to bacteria and viruses, because your body is using all the energy that it can. So let's think about this coronavirus. So you know how people are saying like, oh, like I'm not going to get it, it's only people who are immunocompromised. Guess what? If you're constantly under stress, you are immunocompromised, and then you actually might even be more prone to getting this virus. So even if you're like young and healthy, but you're still under all the stress, you actually might be more prone to getting this virus. Additionally, something else I want you guys to think about is that, like I was saying, so cortisol takes control of your entire body, which means that your other hormones cannot function properly. So I want you to think about your thyroid hormone. So in this case, cortisol is like, move over thyroid, like I need all the energy. So then what happens is you have thyroid problems. So this can lead to something called hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism in its own can lead to weight gain or like inability to lose weight, and then you can have like memory fog, concentration issues, you can have like skin issues like clammy skin, dry skin, all these things, low thyroid. And actually low thyroid can just be caused in general from cortisol. So it's saying like I work at a pharmacy and I see people coming in every single day to get like Synthroid, which is an artificial hormone. You kind of wonder, like, something like this, so like your cortisol test is not something that your regular doctor is going to do. And I always wonder, like, I see these people on this medication every single day, and I'm like, man, like, this person just has like an underlying like adrenal issue, and they don't even need to be on thyroid hormones if they fix their adrenal issue, because hormones are typically something that you're on for the rest of your life. So it's just really interesting for me to see that, because I'm like, like maybe there's other issues that we could solve so that not every single person needs to be on medication. Because people don't need to be on thyroid hormones and blood pressure lowering medications, or even if you think about like anxiety, like antidepressants, like maybe people don't need to be on these medications if they fix like the underlying issue, which is like that stress and these adrenal issues. So it's just like very interesting for me as a pharmacy student, because obviously pharmacy is kind of like that Western medicine perspective. However, I am somebody who totally sees like the natural side of things and like that more holistic approach. So I don't know, it's just like a very interesting area of research for me, and I'm kind of excited to like go into my profession and like go into the future with the knowledge I have, and maybe hopefully one day more kind of pharmacists and more doctors are able to bring issues to this light. I don't really know. So to summarize, so today we talked about the stress response, we talked about the secret hormone that might be making us fat, aka cortisol, and we just talked about the normal response to cortisol and then that abnormal response. So I hope this video was very helpful for you guys. I hope you learned a little bit of something. If you stay tuned for my next videos, you will learn about specific warning signs and how you can get treated for this. And then last but not least, you will learn how to prevent your body from getting into that overload exhaustion phase, or you will learn how to treat it once you get into that phase, like myself. So I am so excited to bring this issue and talk about this issue with you guys. If you have any specific questions at all, please leave them in the comment box down below, or you can shoot me a message on Instagram at Nattybeefit. I always respond to all my messages, so looking forward to see what you guys have to say about this. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps my channel. And I was saying, I'm very, very passionate about this topic, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit different from my regular like health and fitness, but hope you enjoyed. Have a good day.